what's up, turds, nerds, freaks, and geeks, and all in between? It's me, your girl, Daisy Dame. Welcome back to my channel. I'm genuinely blessed to have you here. Over the decades, television has slowly but surely reshaped the image of the father, from dependable leader to lovable idiot. Once portrayed as strong, wise, and moral pillars of the household, TV dads have increasingly become the comic relief, bumbling, clueless, irresponsible, and emotionally absent. Shows like Married with Children, Shameless, Family Guy, The Simpsons have all played a part in this shift. But how did we get here? And what are the consequences? Fathers have went from father knows best to father barely knows anything. In the 1950s, shows like Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best depicted fathers as calm, fair-minded, and authority figures. These men weren't perfect, but they were stable, present, and respected. Fast forward to the 1990s and beyond, and this archetype has been flipped completely. Doesn't that sound familiar? Take Al Bundy from Married with Children, a bitter, lazy shoe salesman, consistently emasculated by his wife and mocked by his children. Along with Homer Simpson, who's lovable but dangerously incompetent. A dad whose main skills are drinking beer, eating donuts, and avoiding responsibility. The same goes for Peter Griffin. It pushes the trope even further into absurdity, often acting more reckless like a teenager than a father of three. In Shameless, we have Frank Gallagher. He isn't even comic relief. He's just a tragic embodiment of neglect, addiction, and narcissism. These characters aren't just flawed, they're hollowed out punchlines, not parents. Why does this keep happening? Well, for a few reasons. Comedy demands flaws. Writers often exaggerate weaknesses for laughs, like the incompetent dad is a resource reliable for gags. Subversion sells. The image of a responsible father has become too traditional, so flipping it on its head feels edgy and more realistic. Changing the family dynamics is also part of this. With the rise of dual income homes and shifting gender roles, some writers reflect or overstate a decline in male authority in the home. There's also cultural backlash. Some of these portrayals reflect frustrations that come with real-world patriarchy. Turning dads into buffoons becomes symbolic payback. We must recognize at what cost. While these betrayals may seem harmless or even funny to most, they often reinforce damaging stereotypes. Boys grow up without positive role models or male role models on screen. Fathers are portrayed as optional or even disposable. Mothers are forced to carry the load as the competent partner while the dad fumbles in the background like another child. The idea of fatherhood became a joke, not a responsibility. This isn't to say that all dads should be portrayed as perfect, but the balance is wildly off. Thankfully, not all modern shows take this path. This Is Us and Bluey, yes, even that animated dog show, Modern Family, they have more layered father figures, still flawed, but still loving and present and growing. These portrayals prove that dad can be both entertaining and emotionally intelligent without being a dunce. What matters is that fathers matter, not just in real life, but in the stories that we tell and that we share. That we tell ourselves about our family's responsibility and love. Comedy doesn't have to come at a cost or at the expense of one's dignity. Maybe it's time we truly stop laughing at dads and start writing them with the respect that they deserve. I've wanted to discuss this for a while now, and I've actually been working on this topic for a minute, for like at least a couple months. But I wanted to do so with the respect it deserves, because fathers who are true fathers do deserve that respect. The Bible speaks many times on the fatherless. I found that very interesting. Many want to blame women simply for wanting their child. They call that being selfish, being rooted in evil instead of looking inwards and seeing why they haven't made it as a father, why they haven't stepped up, and how much of the workload is on women. In Deuteronomy 10:18, God administers justice for the fatherless and the widow. In Psalms 68:5, God is the father to the fatherless and defender of the widow. Some fathers are in the home but are still absent. I want to discuss this because clearly it's affected our youth and what changes we see in society currently. Many of us have seen the joke that if women were to live alone, we would live in a utopia of peace, while men would be at war. Have you heard of Lord of the Flies? Well, that alone might give you an idea of what behavior we might see. It's heartbreaking to see mothers doing more now than ever and still getting the short end of the stick. Women are born nurturers, and that's okay. We have the divine feminine, and it's just as important and crucial as the divine masculine. In my heart and soul, I feel like the gender confusion is being used to partly destroy this construct. And that has to deal with the idea that I had of the formula of life. What was the formula of life for those in the 50s, 60s, and 70s? It was to grow up, work hard, get education, get married, have a family. This was the past formula. But this doesn't quite exist anymore. And now many will never get married. Many are feeling lost and hopeless, and they feel like they're not living up to societal standards or norms. In the last 2 to 3 decades especially, we have seen divorce rates rise through the roof. Why is that? Because at every little inconvenience, people want to break up. Many men want a lady in public, but a demon behind closed doors. These expectations are unrealistic and cruel, and to think women should simply be treated like an object for your pleasure is disturbing. Men could never endure half of what women do have to go through, simply with their monthly issues alone. Things have swung very left over the last decade. We are seeing that more than ever from our youth. And we are seeing now that this will cause the pendulum to swing. And now more than ever, many are choosing a conservative lifestyle. Why do you think that is? Many believe that our parents grew up in a time that was much more simpler than ours. Why is that? Because the formula of life. It was still very much frowned upon to get in divorce or to split up, especially after a child. We are all human, trying to do our best by our loved ones, trying to do our best by ourselves. So why do we see such chaos and turmoil in the world still? We live in the most advanced time. Technology has taken center stage. I truly believe that we are close enough to living in a technocracy-type dystopian system. The future is uncertain, but we don't have to be. We can do our part by doing what's right for our youth and teaching them from our mistakes and to learn from them. Our youth is the most mixed up it's ever been. It's also the most diverse it's ever been. And this should be a positive thing, instead of more fodder for the masses to fight over. What we do see is that mental health has taken a steep dive, that children are more feral and wild, and I've seen this firsthand, the trauma that our youth endures. I wish I could siphon it out like poison from a snake bite. What I can see is that belittling, degrading, and mistreating our dads is truly not the answer. It won't get more men to want to be a father. It won't get them to partake or be responsible. But maybe giving them that bit of credit that is owed.